Yo, what's cracking, guys? This is episode 14 of the
Who are we?
podcast brought to you by me, Mark Carsky, Dylan Mahler, and AJ Leidig. We have a guest today, Jason Seiler.
Woo!
Yeah, baby, I got it right.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Practiced right before we said it.
Only took you 4 different tries.
It's hard. It's a hard name. It's ethnic. You know, it's different.
It's not, look at it, it's not
It's
ethnic.
exotic. He's exotic.
Hey, it's actually pronounced Seiler.
I do feel like the most exotic thing about you is your hat right now.
Yeah. Well, also I have pants on.
That's fair. That's exotic as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason Seiler, dude, you are like underratedly famous. I never think people understand
I
that.
saw your Instagram today, and I was like, oh, shit.
Only today you look.
Bigger than me? Oh, yeah.
Well, no, because I don't think people understand. Like, you started with painting, and then you made the transition to stand up. But you're like a very well-established painter.
Yeah, you're super good. Your art's crazy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's what I do, like every day. That's what I do for a living.
Self-employed type shit?
Yeah, I've been freelance for over 20 years.
Damn,
Nice,
that's so
dude.
cool.
Because I've done like some art in the past and sold it and shit, so that's super tight, dude. I fuck
Yeah.
with that.
Do not compare what you do to that's.
I mean, selling art, dude.
Hey, I'm being audited right now, so there's a lot of stress. And I'm not.
Are you
joking.
actually?
Oh yeah, it started.
Oh, fuck.
First it was like 2019, and then they're like, oh, now it's 2020 and 2021. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, it's for real, dude.
That's scary.
Jason paid his taxes, IRS, if you're watching this.
No, here's the thing that pisses me off is I have an accountant, a very good accountant, who I'm like, you were supposed? This is your job.
This is your job.
I gave you all the
100%.
paper. Now they're saying something was wrong, and I'm still having to pay you. Like,
That's what's weird about
accountants.
accountants are like lawyers, where it's like if they fuck up, like you get in trouble somehow.
Dude. Yeah. Green squares are bad. No, I don't use that. But yeah, it's very frustrating. So, but yeah, I get to draw pictures. And
That's
stuff.
sick.
Yeah.
Well, the art is so cool because like whenever we see stuff, like it's just amazing that like you get hired for all these big gigs and everything, and it's all cartoons. Like it's
Well,
for the most part.
eh.
Is it okay? I might be completely wrong then.
No, like, so I do more caricature illustration, but I paint very realistic. So it's not. I wouldn't really consider it cartoons. Like right now, I'm working on a cover for Mad Magazine, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of detail, but painted very realistic. But then also I'll paint like super realistic portraits for Time Magazine or the New Yorker or Rolling Stone.
Oh shit.
And then recently, I worked on a Disney movie. I did background paintings for a movie that's coming out Thanksgiving.
That's dope.
Fuck
It's called
yeah.
Disenchanted. It's the sequel to the Enchanted movie. And so that was completely different, where they hired me for about 4 months I literally painted millions of trees. It was crazy. It was a cool job, and I'm excited mostly so my daughters can see a Disney movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
Dad's in a Disney movie. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So, yeah, but I literally painted like full-on forests for months. So it was fun, and it was the first time I ever did anything like that. But then while I'm doing that stuff, I'm like just writing jokes and stuff all day, just thinking about. I think about comedy all the time. Like,
You think more than painting?
I mean, I can't turn that off because like I've been an artist ever since I was a little kid.
Yeah, I was going to ask when you started drawing. Like,
Yeah, I mean, my dad's a professional artist, so I grew up with art all my life.
What were you drawing like as a kid? Like what kind of art would you do?
Besides anime.
Because
Yeah.
I would like pause SpongeBob and shit like that and just draw the cartoons on the TV.
Yeah, I did that. I did. I grew up in the middle of nowhere in North Wisconsin, and so my family's really into hunting and stuff. So I drew deer and bear and fish and ducks, like all that kind of stuff. But then I really got into sharks, obsessed with sharks.
I mean, who hasn't had a shark?
When I was 12
I have one
years
right
old,
now.
Spree, dude.
When I was 12 years
Yeah,
old,
everybody had that Shark
I
Week
actually,
kick.
I didn't really have any friends.
Most of us did it. That's why we're here. Yeah.
around the age of 12,
that sounds about right,
I
yeah.
illustrated over 350 shark species, and in a sketchbook, I did the
Whoa.
side view of them and the under view of them. I would draw their teeth, and then I would write their name, and then I would write their name in Latin under it.
That's cool.
Damn.
That's when I was 12. So
That's so cool.
little bit,
When was the first time you ever got paid for art?
When's the first time you ever?
probably around 10 years old or something like that.
You think 10 years old? What for?
I would get private commissions from friends and family, but by the time I was 15, I was starting to do real commissions and stuff.
Oh,
So I've
okay.
been doing it. And then when I was 20 is when I started like full time for like Time Magazine and that kind of stuff.
Now, do you do like a lot? I know you said you're big on like Instagram and shit, but like, so do you post like the quick like drawings of like showing how it's like drawn and shit, like on TikTok and stuff like that, trying to get as big as possible?
Yeah, I
'Cause
do.
that's super
I like to
palatable.
try to, because I also I've been teaching for an online art school since 2006, and so on top of everything else, I teach every week, but mostly it's critiques because my classes are already pre-recorded. But like, so I'm always busy. It's
Yeah.
like. But I'm always doing stuff like that, like just to, before there was Facebook or any of that stuff, I had a blog.
Ooh.
And that's really kind of what, like every single day I was posting on this thing, just drawings and like works in progress. And then I would write stuff, and I got like well over 150,000 followers.
Whoa.
And I was starting to get
That's
known.
famous, especially back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm
For a
blogger.
blog, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's huge.
So I started getting a lot more recognition, and that's how I ended up getting my first agent in New York. And then I just kept doing that. And then eventually Facebook, I joined Facebook just for my art to promote.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Instagram. Like I've only joined any of these things just to try to promote.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the comedy. Now I'm trying to use both things to promote both at the same time. Because a lot of people are confused. A lot of my fans of my art are very confused. Like, what the fuck? Why are you doing comedy?
Right. Why are you posting clips of it? What's going on
Some
here?
people get mad at me
Yeah,
for
that's
doing
not what
it.
they were there for originally.
Yeah.
so-
Right.
But it's like, but the people that really know me know that I've always been a comedian. Like way even back like 15 years ago when I was starting to do like workshops around the world. I've gotten to travel. I'm always cracking jokes and making people laugh. I've always been that way.
Have you like? Does it hurt? Do you think like the trajectory of your art page? Do you ever thought of like separating the comedy and the art?
No, I don't want to because it's just who I am. Like why I'm an artist. Whether I used to be in bands, and I've put out several records. I've toured the country. I've done that whole thing. It's all part of who I am.
You need a
Right.
documentary, dude. Holy shit!
Like you're not Jason Seiler the painter, you're not Jason Seiler the comedian, you're just
Artist.
Jason Seiler.
Yeah,
That's
I'm an
what-
artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
But comedy is the thing that like I just like as far as like the art stuff, like I can't turn that off. As far as like I notice all the colors all the time, and I think about how I would mix a color, and I look at people's faces, and I already see it in my mind. How I would draw them. But with comedy, it's like I'm just always thinking about it. I'm always like, I don't know how you guys are with writing. Dylan and I have talked about this quite a bit, but like for me, I find that if I sit down to write, it feels so forced.
No, it's always when you're driving.
For me, exactly.
Yeah,
Some crazy person pulls in front of you, and you're like, "Oh fuck, I got a bit," and you just keep working on it. Real things happen. Getting audited, you're like,
Yeah.
things happen, and or you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a thought, you write it down, and the next morning you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't say those words,"
which happens a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically to Mark, usually.
I still say it.
Oh man, yeah.
I did want to ask you. I know we said we did no research. I have one pre-prepared question for you, which I'm genuinely curious about because you have a background in art, but then you're also on the social media side of things. Thoughts on digital art? Like the NFT section and everything.
Oh, that?
Does it help you? Does it hurt you? Or do you care about it at all?
The NFT thing is very confusing for me.
Well, that splurge is super died comparatively,
Well,
right?
when it was
Like-
getting hot, like people were like, "Dude, you got to do this," and so I started doing it. I found some people to help me, and I made some decent money. I
Yeah.
sold I think I've sold like 6 or 7 NFTs.
Nice.
And so I probably made close to 10 grand.
Damn.
Which was really great, but there was all these promises and none of it came through.
Right.
And then it was so confusing, and it was so complicated just to get paid through crypto and all that kind of stuff. It
Were
was
people
like,
buying and selling the art so you could get residuals and
well,
stuff?
that's what you hope for.
You get the
Yeah.
royalties
But
off of it.
nothing so far I know of has happened. But as far as digital art, like, I mean, I'm a traditional painter, like oil, watercolor, gouache, that kind of stuff. But I also taught myself how to paint digitally. So most of everything I do for like Disney or Mad Magazine or any of those things, it's all digital painting.
What
Right.
do you use to draw? Do you use like a...
A Cintiq. Do you know what that is?
Is that like a drawing tablet that
It's
connects?
yeah, but it's like the one I have is like 27-inch screen, and you draw and paint right on it. It's kind of like an
Yeah.
iPad, but it's It was before the iPad.
But it's huge.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've
It's
seen
what
those.
all the Pixar people use.
That's
it's
sick.
It's a huge, and you just sit there and people get confused by it, but the way I work on it is no different than like I'm literally drawing on it and mixing my color on it. I make my own brushes.
Damn.
I have friends that make brushes and we trade, and so
That's cool as fuck.
You know I have a lot of brushes that if you know how to paint traditionally when you use them. My goal when I paint digitally is I want it just to look like one of my paintings. I don't want it to. It still has to feel like my work.
Yes, you want it to look physical, even though it's digital. Mhm.
Yeah, and also the reason I do it is because deadlines are insane. Like most deadlines I have for magazine covers are 2 days to do a magazine cover.
That's wild.
Like, what would you have to draw for like you said 2 days? So like how long?
Yeah.
Like what would they have you draw for in 2 days?
It could be one person, or it could be like. So I just became a regular for this magazine called The Week, and first they're gonna have me doing one magazine cover a month, but soon it's gonna be 2 a month. They call you Monday morning with the topic, and then you've got until Wednesday afternoon to hand in the full cover. So the first one I did was Putin pointing forward with like an Uncle Sam like thing, like we're moving forward, and then a whole bunch of Russian soldiers fleeing for their lives in the background with destruction and burning tanks and all this kind of stuff. So that's all 2 days.
That's a lot of art in 2 days. Yeah.
It's
Do you
very
have to like
stressful.
change like what you would usually make it into, like change it so it could fit that 48-hour time crunch?
Yeah, you gotta. Well, for every job I do that. Like the Mad Magazine cover I'm doing now is gonna look real slick because I've had like 2 weeks to do it. So every day I'm just working on it. But like a cover like that, I just have to keep it painterly. That same week I did that, I had a magazine cover. I got called late Wednesday night, but I was on my way to do comedy at the Vault. And the final was due the next day by 5 p.m. So I had to get up at 6 in the morning, sketches due by 8 or so. And then I had till 5 o'clock to finish one illustration.
It's giving me anxiety just hearing
So-
that.
Yeah, honestly, that's a rough schedule.
But what I do is I break it down like, okay, I'm going to paint the face, this main guy, in 2.5 hours. And then I've got a couple hours to paint his body. And then I'll leave the rest of the time for the background. So you kind of have to like think.
Plan
ahead.
out your day like a job.
Yeah.
You're the boss type shit.
Exactly. And it is stressful. But I mean, I don't really know anything else.
And it's a good
You
problem
know?
to have to do that thing for a living. Like that's pretty fucking tight.
Yeah. Like I said, the only drawback is it's very stressful because the deadlines are stressful. And then, I remember like I painted the Pope for Time Magazine for Person of the Year cover in 2013. It was my first cover for them.
Nice.
I think I've done 10 or 12 since now.
Dope.
But like that one was a big deal because it was Person of the Year cover, and it was literally seen by billions of people. It was like the #1 thing, and I was interviewed by every media in Chicago. I'd get in a cab. I was on the TV in the cab.
That's sick.
That's
I was
crazy.
walking around Target, and people were like, You're
the guy!
Like, yeah, it was because I had big handlebar mustache too, so I was really way more recognizable.
Yeah.
Was this before you started comedy? Were you like, come
Yeah.
see me at the Vault?
Yeah, well kind of. I'm going to tell you guys about something crazy, but this was kind of before I officially did comedy. But so even though this was like one of the #1 covers, it still took 3.5 months for them to pay me, because that's just how they have like a 90-day thing.
Right.
And
Fuck
so,
you, Time. No, I'm
that's
kidding.
just
No,
how-
no, we're kidding.
No, but that's how it works. But at the time, I remember like I was struggling to pay my rent, and I'm like, I have the #1 cover in the world right now, and I'm like stressed out about paying rent.
Right.
And so I had to ask my agent if could you give me an advance? Like, so sometimes you have to try to like hustle and figure out what you can do, but that's all part of the gig. Like every illustrator knows, like there's sometimes it's great. And you're doing, but sometimes you're just like, dude, do I have to get a job at Walmart or something? Like,
Right, just to make it from point A to point B. Mhm.
yeah, and so it can be stressful and frustrating, but
Did you always know that you were like amazing at it? Like
That's actually a good question. Like, when do you feel like
that's-
when did you feel like you were good at it?
I always felt like I was good,
Okay.
if I'm being honest. But here's the thing, my father is an amazing artist, and so a lot of people think that he taught me. He didn't really. He kind of wanted me to figure it out. He showed me a couple things, but mostly I wanted to figure it out too. So I just spent a lot of time by myself drawing and jerking off. And
At the
Fuck
same
yeah.
time?
That's what we usually did. Yeah.
sometimes.
Sometimes
But,
jerking off to his drawings.
They're that good.
But no, I kind of just always did it, and I always, because my dad was he like won Wildlife Artist of the Year, he won duck stamps, trout stamps, that kind of stuff. So I kind of put this pressure on myself as a kid, like, if that's my dad, if my drawing didn't get picked in the hall to hang in the hall with the other students, I was like, oh my God, I'm a loser. Like,
you have that to live up to.
Pressure on myself, and it was just all on me. My dad didn't put the pressure on me. Like, I mean, in a lot of ways, he tried to talk me out of being an artist. More ways than one. He tried, and actually, one time he grounded me from drawing.
Really?
Because I was so obsessed. He took me to the movies, and I brought a sketch pad with me and was drawing during the movie. And he was like, "Nah, you got problems."
If my kid was doing that, I'd be like, "Oh, this kid just has to draw all the time." I'd be like, "Let's get him more."
But here's
stuff.
the thing: you say that now, but imagine if you were already in that industry and you had seen kind of the negative sides of it, like he's saying.
Yeah.
Like then you might want to shelter them.
Like my dad was like when I was in high school, he was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I just want to draw pictures."
Yeah.
But he drew, so he should be like, well, he could definitely.
But again, imagine like if you were an NFL player that retired from like a whole bunch of concussions,
well, it's like
and then your kid starts playing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Like when we make it in stand up, it's like, would you want your kid to go through all of this? I'd be like, yeah.
Probably not.
I would say yeah.
Well, it depends. It depends. Like they knew that was all I cared about was art.
Yeah.
And music. I play guitar and stuff like that. So I was really into that. But
they're like, you should do stand up comedy instead.
yeah. Oh, well, you know what's funny about that is they always kind of thought I was gonna do that because I was ever since I saw Bill Cosby when I was a kid. I'm like,
what else did you learn from him?
well, that kind of stuff I shouldn't say on a podcast, but like that ever since I was a kid, like I saw Eddie Murphy and I was like, I just always was attracted to it. So, but my dad when I was in high school, he was like, he would hand me like a fashion magazine. He's like, you should do this. You should try to do fashion. Because it's art.
Yeah.
And you could make more. He was thinking like this. You could make money, but you can't make money drawing Batman. Like,
right.
That's how he was. You know, he was like, you should try architecture. I'm like,
clothing can be like
you gotta, like, do
like
math
monopolized.
and shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to do math. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I kind of fell into it because I just kept drawing and drawing and drawing. And I got a job doing graphic design. I hated it. And they kept seeing how much I was drawing, and eventually they started giving me illustrations for their magazine. And then I just started doing like side commissions. And then I was in all these punk bands and metal bands touring. I started doing album covers. I started doing T-shirt designs. And so one thing just kept leading to another where I eventually I started noticing I've always been really good at the caricature thing. And I started noticing caricature illustration being published in magazines and thinking, oh, I could do that. That I just never thought about it. And so I started like collecting magazines and images of other artists that were successful and just tried to learn how to do that. And then eventually I would just send stuff to magazines, and it didn't happen overnight. It was stressful. It was very stressful, especially like early when I first started my career. I had my first daughter, so I had a 1-year-old. I spent all week on a drawing, and I get like $100. So it was not good.
Right, and you got a kid to support now. Do kids suck? Do kids suck?
When she brings
They can.
when your daughter brings you like a drawing, like in crayon, like do you put it on the fridge?
Get this shit out of here.
Yeah.
Do you know who Dad
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you call that?
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's actually amazing. I love it because, like, kids are, all of my kids are actually really naturally good at, like, they all want to paint and draw and stuff.
Oh, really?
But we don't push it because my wife's an artist as well.
This guy's fucking
So,
genetic.
yeah, we don't push it on them. But they see us drawing and painting, and my 2-year-old's like, she doesn't say I want to paint. She says orange, yellow, green. That means she wants us to take out the paints.
Well, she is too, so that would it'd be weird if she was like, I want to paint. You'd be like, what the
Well,
fuck?
she will say like full sentences sometimes, so it comes in fragments.
Right. Do kids suck? Does it suck being a dad?
No.
None of us are fathers. I hope so. So
It doesn't suck.
What a crazy question. Don't
Man.
you hate being the most?
no,
important part of your
I
life?
always want to know, dude. I asked my dad that once,
It's
and he
probably-
hesitated.
Well,
Listen, I have-
it's-
I have-
mean,
I have
it's
4
you.
daughters.
You didn't know.
I have 4 daughters, and teenagers are the most difficult and painful part for me about being a father.
Have they said I hate you?
Oh yeah.
How does that feel?
Oh, it's not good, man.
You can't be.
No.
It's not awesome.
It's very difficult. Babies are the best.
They're just potential and adorable, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they grow up and call you a bitch, and you're like,
But
wow.
But it's here's the thing is like I love this the saying I don't know who said it, but marriage it only ends with death or divorce.
Yeah.
So there's no good ending to marriage.
Right.
Right.
Just like with everything.
That's a dark quote, but it's true.
It's
Yeah.
like buying a dog. It's going to die.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's like you like that puppy? Oh, he's cute now, right? He's gonna die.
Yeah.
You're gonna watch him die.
14 years from now, we're going to kill him.
Yeah. But like that's kind of what it's like having teenagers. And
You're gonna have to kill
kids.
them one day.
One day. No, it's hard, man, because like it's so funny. I've got some bits I do about teenagers and versus toddlers and stuff like that. But like, it's just the funniest thing where I don't feel old as they make me feel. They
Right.
make me feel like I am so lame all the time.
And you're like, I'm not doing stand-up comedy. I'm fucking cool.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
I'm doing magazine
they think
covers.
that's-
I'm on TikTok. I'm cool.
Check this out. A couple years ago I did what's the president's name? No, Biden and Kamala for Person of the Year for Time Magazine. Another big cover, right? I was so proud of the cover and happy about it, and I saved a copy for each of my daughters, and I thought they were gonna,
Go crazy, love
they
it.
don't even care about it. And then, but here's the funny thing is, she was 14 at the time. She's like, Dad, like this is weeks later. She's like, I saw you on TV. She's like, Dad, you were on TV. They're talking about. She's like, that's so amazing. And I'm. That made me feel so good. That
Yeah,
my 14-year-old
yeah.
thought. And here's the thing. I was like, you should show your teachers at school and stuff. And she's like, why would I do that? I'm like, because your dad just painted a cover for Time Magazine.
Because your dad's fucking dope,
And then
all right?
She's like, I
Tell
don't
your
know.
teachers your dad is dope. Okay.
But
Yeah.
this is how pathetic it gets. Is that she goes, you know what though? I think I'll share it on my Instagram. And I was like,
Tag me.
so moved by that.
Yeah.
Because they've never.
Well, because that's her social network. Like, that's her closest friends
Yeah.
and people.
Dude,
Yeah.
But they've never given me a birthday present or a Christmas present. I'm not even kidding.
Well,
No.
I mean, they don't have jobs. That,
Yeah, but a
It would have
card.
been your money. Yeah.
A
That
card.
is fair. They are spending your money.
It doesn't
They could have
matter.
made you a card. They didn't even give you a card that they made. Jesus.
No, it's-
maybe they do hate you.
Yeah, they do. They do. But here's the thing. So I would look at my daughter's Instagram every day to see if she posted something, and she never did. Never, not once. And but it's just so funny because I would literally like trolling my daughter's Instagram. Like, did she post about my artwork?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe if you tagged me, you'd get more followers,
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Right.
yeah. But I cared more about that than any of the other accolades. Like, I was just like,
Well, yeah.
Dude,
but-
I couldn't imagine being in high school and like your dad has more Instagram followers than you.
Yeah, I'd kill myself.
Yeah. Because that's all that
I would end
matters
my
in
life.
life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, you know what's funny? I have a blue check. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
My daughter is the one that pointed it out to me. She goes, Dad, you got a blue check. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I still had no idea. And she's like, how did you get that? I'm like, I don't know.
You just gave it to you.
Most
And-
people try so hard to get that.
Right.
And you're just like,
I
oops.
saw it and I was like, hell yeah, you got that. Blue
You have to
No.
send in a picture of your ID to get a verification,
like, what
and
is
you
that?
didn't.
No,
what-
I didn't.
Every time I've tried to
No.
like get fucked, dude.
No, my daughter was, that's another moment where I was like, oh, I felt cool. My kid made me feel cool today.
I mean, that is a pretty. You know, that makes you. Whenever you comment on somebody's Instagram, yours shows up at the top.
Your DMs also show up at the top too. So like if you DM like Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Drake or something.
See, I don't even
Dude,
know
you
this
should.
stuff, dude.
Dude, you should leave your family and just go.
Yeah.
Marry Drake or
I
whatever.
think it like didn't let me tag Kanye in some today. It like had it.
Well, he's banned from Instagram now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you
not banned.
are you a Kanye West fan?
I like his music, but the dude,
Not the person,
The dude
yeah.
is fucking nuts. But
Oh, dude.
But I love it. I like his early
music's great.
You
Yeah.
gotta hear his
I hate his
podcast.
Jesus shit though.
The Lex Friedman podcast he was just on yesterday.
I listened to it.
Fire.
The one
It's
with
good?
that guy. What's his name with the?
He's a Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This podcast.
Engineer.
I listened to it.
Yeah, I'm like pretty much. I think I'm like halfway through it.
I do. I'm a little bit weirded out. Like, not to compare the two, but like when they banned Trump from social media, it was like, okay, like he's a politician, he has power. I get it. He could like cause shit to happen. But like, what the fuck is Kanye doing? You know what I mean?
Kanye put out a tweet and he was.
Well, he's saying some.
Wait, yeah. What was the tweet?
He's saying some anti-Semitic shit.
Understood. That's what it's for.
The thing he said, like Lex told him, he's like, just when you say the media, stop saying the Jewish media.
yeah.
He's like, just say the media.
Well, and now
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
They
and now
are
he's
Jews.
calling himself a Jew.
Yeah, he says, I am Jew.
I am
not
Jew.
Jewish.
Yeah,
I am Jew.
Yeah, he says, we are Jew, you are Jew.
And
Not Jewish.
And no, you ain't.
That's the that's the answer to this podcast. Who are we? I am Jew.
Yeah, I am Jew. I am Leidos. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, everything fucking just got ripped from him. Like, I'm fucking so disappointed that clothing
Well, there
line
was-
is gone.
You know, you're not Jew. You're Cheeks. There's a difference.
Do you know? Do any of you guys know Zach Liss? He's a comic in the city. He fucking. I was with him this weekend, and he's like heavily practicing Jew. Huge Kanye West fan, and it's just
Right.
been a rough week for this kid. This poor kid.
I don't get Christmas and now this.
Wait, what did he say that was anti-Semitic though? Like, what did he
He said
say
he's gonna go DEFCON 3
on the Jews?
Yeah. Well, and then
Yeah.
he
He
said like,
DEFCON, right? He said
He's blaming all the people that have taken advantage of him in the industry, in saying that they're all Jewish. So Jewish people are so
He's like, it's the common denominator is the
Yeah.
Jew, obviously.
Yeah, it's-
not their terrible behavior and picking
like-
the same people to be around you, Kanye. That's not why. It's
Right.
It's because they're Jewish.
Yeah.
Fucking
No more bagels for you.
No more cream cheese and locks, dude. Get fucked.
Kanye was draw back in the day.
Yeah, he was a complete artist.
I
Dude.
know someone who like actually did stand up in front of him one time, but and he was like
Didn't
younger,
smile.
But yeah,
Just straight faced. I would hate to do stand up in front of Kanye, trying to make him laugh.
I met
Right.
him one time.
You met Kanye?
Met Kanye?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah. I was at the Wizard World convention early on in my career, and I was there selling my first book and like signing prints and stuff like that. And I didn't know who Kanye was, and he was like really new, but people in Chicago knew him, but I didn't know him.
Right.
And he came up. So we both are alumni from the same art school, and so he heard about me. He came to my booth, and he had these two huge dudes with him, like bodyguards, and he was like, you know, I heard you're this artist, blah, 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 and I want you to do a drawing for me for a T-shirt. And so I said, sure, yeah, that sounds cool. You want me to draw like a lion or something
Wait,
like
yeah,
that?
Kanye heard of you, and you haven't.
That's so crazy.
holy, the coolest guy on earth.
Jason,
Heard
talk
of
about this
you.
on stage, dude. This is wild.
Yeah, don't even do jokes. Just be like,
Yeah.
who's Kanye? Has he heard of you cunts? What's up with Kanye? I know him.
But the crazy thing was, so I turned him down because, like I said, I didn't know who he was, and he wanted me to do this thing, and he was only offering me $500. And,
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, okay, well, if I do it for $500, do I get royalty on the shirts? And he said, hell no. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
what did he want you to do?
It was like some kind of lion.
It was
like
an
a
album
it was like a
cover.
lion
Could you
face
imagine?
thing. But here's the thing. Then like maybe a month later or so, I hear that song. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's that dude. And I'm like, oh man.
Were you like mother? And now you see him now. You're
not
like,
really.
Mother.
Not really, no, because and actually before him and Kim separated, I got a call from the dean of my art school saying that Kanye and Kim, they were thinking about moving to Chicago, and they came to the art school to ask about artists because they wanted to commission some oil paintings.
Oh
and my dean recommended me,
Whoa.
and they were going to contact me for some paintings, but it didn't happen because they broke up.
Damn.
But I almost got, that would have been some money.
You almost painted for Pete Davidson.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You were so close.
Oh my gosh. You know, he's gone too, man.
Yeah, he's out of the picture, dude.
the crossover
That guy's a
from
freak.
Art career to comedy though is crazy. That show that you like didn't even know how big it was. What was it, Adobe or something?
Oh yeah. So that's what I was gonna bring that up is, so when I painted the Pope, I had all these amazing opportunities like interviews and things. And Wacom, that makes the Cintiq that I draw and paint on, they sent me a brand new Cintiq and all they wanted me to do was like some demos, and they sent a crew to do a documentary about me, and Adobe did a documentary.
So I was right; they should do a documentary.
So
Yeah, 100%.
So there's a couple out there, but then the cool thing was, Adobe asked me if I would be a keynote speaker for the Adobe Max conference, which is a huge thing in LA. I did not know how huge it was. I just said yeah because they offered me 20 grand, first class, and then to put me in a really nice hotel. And they said, and then they also hired me to do all these paintings for the event, and they paid me really well. I'm like, dude, I'm making bank, and this is awesome.
Were you like, it should be a private jet?
Yeah,
first class.
100%.
It was amazing, man, and they put me at the Ritz, and it was just really cool. And all I had to do was talk for 20 minutes, and all I had to do was talk about my art. So I put together 20 minutes worth of my paintings, and I just thought I'm gonna go through and talk about my paintings for 20 minutes. I don't, just like with my podcast, I don't prepare. I know my art, so I'm just gonna get up and talk.
You know what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get there the day before, and it's at the Staples Center, and they bring me out on the stage. They do the fucking American Idol at this place. They bring me out, and I'm like, what the heck? There's a screen behind me that's 50-something feet huge that's got my art. They got monitors in front of me, so I have a clicker. I can see my art, so I know what's behind me. And then I'm on these huge, like, stadium screens up on both sides.
Holy shit.
And they go, okay, run through your material. And I'm like, oh, I don't have anything planned. And they're like, what? I go, no, I'm like the main keynote speaker.
Right. You're the guy.
And I'm opening for Weird Al. He's right after me, and our green rooms are together. So the next day I come out, and there's a woman who's like a famous photographer. She was right before me, and my legs start turning to jello because they're about to call me on stage, and
how many people?
8,000 people.
Nice.
Sitting in the audience. Plus, it's being streamed to millions of people.
By the way, I do think not to distract. I do think it was funny that you were like the Staples Center, where they film American Idol, as if that's the biggest thing that the Staples Center does.
I don't know.
It's like they have like Lakers games and stuff too.
Yeah.
They fuck
whatever.
whatever they do there,
And so it was crazy. So then the guy calls my name. He's like, Jason Seiler, and I'm like, I just grabbed, my mouth got just so dry. I took this water, just down this water, and it was still dry. And I walk out there, and it's really embarrassing, but I was so nervous. My first instinct was,
how's everybody doing tonight?
well, I was like, let's see if I can get them to laugh and be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I think I'll feel comfortable. So I go out there in front of everybody, and there's a link to this on my website. So if you go to jasonseiler.com, there's a link, and you can see this video. It's basically me doing my first 20 minutes. I go up, and I get up there, and I go, California.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love that, actually.
and I'm like, it's so great to be here.
Like, this art is great.
Yeah. And I start doing that. I'm like, I'm just kidding. I'm not Arnold.
I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I go, I'm just kidding. I said, I didn't mean to trick you, But they all start laughing. Like 8,000 people are laughing, and I'm like,
Damn.
oh shit, this is awesome.
Like, oh, you got him. Yeah.
Careers. Holy shit.
And then I just started going through my art, and I was just naturally nervous enough to say funny things.
Adrenaline's a thing. Yeah,
in
yeah.
between. And then I remember I got to a point where I told a story about Hillary Clinton, about how she called into a magazine to ask who did this painting of her. And I told this whole story, and again, the whole place is dying laughing. And it was the coolest feeling in the world.
That's awesome.
And then I got off stage, and the CEO of Microsoft and Adobe came by my room. Oh, this is after, because Weird Al came up right after, and all he had to do is answer questions. He got interviewed. So he had to sit in a chair, and they were interviewing him. So he had the easy job. And then afterwards, Weird Al came and hung out, and we got pictures and hung out and stuff, exchanged numbers, and it was really cool. He's a really nice dude. And then the CEO of Microsoft and Adobe came, and they said, hey, just want to let you know, this is where I think really sparked me wanting to do the comedy, because they were like, you were trending like on Twitter and on everything else, like, and everyone's saying that who's this guy? He's way funnier than Weird Al. Like, it was like this crazy.
That's hilarious.
And it was just funny because I wasn't trying to be funny, I was just so scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You watched Weird Al.
But to be fair, he wasn't trying to be funny. He was answering questions. I mean, he's not like a comedian. He's a
He's like
is he funny?
He's a very nice person. He's a very sweet guy.
That's not a good
I don't
thing.
mean to degrade Bo Burnham, but he was Bo Burnham before Bo Burnham. But Bo Burnham does it better. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But he was nice, man. Like I remember. So afterwards, my wife, she was like, she was so excited. We just got married, and she was so excited to like, could I get a picture with Weird Al? And I asked, I go, hey, could my wife take a picture? He's like, oh yeah. And so he puts his arm around her, and I go, watch your hands, Al. And he got so weird. He was like, oh. He got so weird. Yeah. No, he did. He looked like, oh shit. I go, I'm kidding, dude. It's like, you can put your hands anywhere you want. Like,
yeah, fuck it. You can fuck my wife. I don't care.
Here's the hotel key. Come on.
He got so uncomfortable, and I was like, oh man, I'm sorry, dude. I was joking.
Damn.
Yeah. But that was a very surreal thing. But it wasn't until a couple years later how I really got into comedy was, I was just talking to you before, but so I started a podcast called Face the Truth, and it's all about art, but every episode is just comedians, painters, musicians, sculptors, anyone that's in the arts. And I've had the drummer for the Black Keys, I've had Kevin Nealon, I've had Jessica Kirsten. So I've had huge comics, I've Brad Garrett, I've had some big actors, and it's just amazing because of the reputation I've gained through my art. I've been able to, I think that blue check mark might help. Because I contact certain people and they're like, yeah, I'll do the podcast.
Oh,
right.
And
so
100% helps, yeah.
So much.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was Steve Byrne did, this is like 3 years ago, a little over 3 years, he did a documentary about The Amazing Jonathan. And I saw it and it was moving. It was so well done. And I was so impressed because it was Steve's first time doing a documentary. And I'd known him from his specials, and he was in some movies with Vince Vaughn and stuff. So I just shared the documentary. Everyone should watch this.
Yeah.
And he wrote, he said, thank you so much, man, whatever. And that was it. But then I got a private message from him saying, hey, dude, I just took a rabbit hole leap or whatever you want to call it down about your work.
Page and everything.
And he was like, fucking hell. So right away, I'm like, dude, you want to be on my podcast?
Yeah.
So he said, short answer, yes. Or fuck yeah, that's what he said. So I have him on my podcast. He's on the East Coast in a hotel. And I'm so excited to talk comedy with him. And halfway through the talk, he's like, dude, you're a comedian. He's like, you got to do comedy. I'm like, I don't know what to do, And then he said,
do the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing.
But so that was just crazy because then he goes, I'm at the Chicago Improv in 6 months. I want you to do 5 minutes for me. And I was on my I'm not gonna say no, but at the same time, I've never done stand up before, and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm down for this challenge. And so we got off, and he texted me. He's like, so you're gonna do it, right? I go, yeah. I said I was gonna do it. So I spent the next 6 months working on 5 minutes, just writing and writing
Every
and writing.
Is like, this cunt. Are you kidding me?
Dude, but here's the thing. Like, it took me the entire time to come up with 5 minutes that I felt good about, and
most people take longer and they're worse, probably.
A week before
some of them are here.
Did it,
yeah.
a week before I did it, I went to my first open mic. I went to Shuba's. I did 3 minutes at Shuba's, and then I went to Harrigan's. And it was okay, but it wasn't good enough that I felt confident. And then when I get to the Chicago Improv, I'm like, oh my, this is a real club. Like I didn't know what to expect, and I started feeling
It's a club, but it's really a theater. It feels like a theater. Yeah.
And Steve gets there and he's like, hey, don't worry, you're gonna be great. Just
don't worry.
Yeah, he's like, just have fun. Just have fun. And I'm like, okay. And I remember having to explain to the manager there that, because he was like, he brought me out, he was like, let us know when you want the light, and I didn't know what that meant. And he was like, what are you talking about?
Dude, this is my third time doing stand-up.
Yeah, and he was not happy about it. He's like, Steve must really like you because this is not okay.
It's that little Uzi move. I'm like, I just got here, dude.
But then he goes, good luck. And then I felt like, oh shit. But the cool thing is like Joe Cagallan was hosting, and
Who's so funny. By the way, Joe Kilgannon just recorded his album, I believe. So fucking funny.
He's great. And he was so nice because he knew the story too, and he was like, I think you're crazy for doing this, but whatever. But he was so nice, and he goes out there and he was like, everyone please welcome Chicago comedian. I'm like, dude, nobody, I'm like, this, you know what I mean? Like they try to pump you up. And I'm like, I've never, and I get out there on stage, and the lights were so bright.
Yeah.
I couldn't say, so the first thing I did in my act was, lights are really bright.
Right.
That's how you know somebody's
Which is the classic open mic thing of like, oh, it's bright up here.
But then within the next 10 seconds, I got my first laugh where I wanted. And then the next 5 minutes, every place I wanted my laughs, I got them. And then I had some extras I didn't think was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And when I got, it was only 5 minutes, goes fast.
Yep.
And then you walk off the stage to the green room and I can't stop grinning. I'm just like, oh my God. Like it was the best feeling. Way better than the Adobe Max thing.
Yeah.
Way better than anything. And then Steve, he came back there and I was like, did you see it? And he's like, yeah. I was like, and he goes, it was pretty good. He's like, not bad. He goes, next time don't open with a masturbation joke. Like my first joke was a masturbation joke.
You're like, Steve, I got this, all right?
Yeah. And then he invited me to come back the next 2 nights.
Yeah.
And then the next summer I did 3 more nights with him. And then coming up in a few weeks, I'm hosting for him and Luca at the Chicago Improv. So I'm doing 5 shows. So I've got a promotion.
Damn.
So
that's such a cool story.
So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing it. And yeah, he's the nicest guy.
Shout out Steve Byrne. Come on the podcast.
Yeah. Steve Byrne is the nicest dude. He helps. I mean, look what he's doing. Luca's just murdering and killing it. But he's like giving him all these great opportunities, taking him around, and because he does that a lot. Like he's really a giving person. It's awesome, man.
Damn. Jason, thanks for coming on, dude. For real. We're so happy to have you.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome
Hope to have you
story,
back,
dude.
for real. I'm sad that we had to go short, honestly, because this was a fucking great interview. Plug everything, by the way. Plug everything out. I know we talked about the website a little bit. Plug your Instagram, OnlyFans, whatever you got.
Yeah, my OnlyFans. I only show my toes.
Sold.
Yeah. My website is jasonseiler.com. My Instagram is Seiler Paints, not Seiler Pants. You know, some people think it's Seiler Pants for some reason.
Oh no, it's Seiler Pants.
Yeah, Seiler Paints. But if you go to Seiler Paints on Instagram, I have all my links there for everything. So just do that. The podcast is a lot of fun. I used to do it once a week. Now I do it maybe twice a month just because I've been so busy. And I have I'll be in Green Bay soon, featuring for the first time in Green Bay, and then
Come on.
3 days after Thanksgiving, I am hosting 5 shows for the Chicago Improv, and so I'm pretty excited about that. It's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching and listening everywhere. Thank you to the live audience. There's people here if you're watching. I swear, I promise there's people.
They're waiting for the open mic. They're not. They're not here for the
this.
podcast.
There's nothing after this. That was episode 14 of the
And I'm so
podcast.
happy that there was no N-words because
No, well, there's
We
about
were
to
so
be.
close.
I was about to say it.
We couldn't fit it in.
I was so nervous. I've been here before, and no, just kidding.
Oh, you got.
He saw Kai's.
think we can get into
I
the
think he
whole
saw
N-word.
Kai's episode. That was,
I was here for that one.
yeah.
Thank you guys. We love you unconditionally. Mwah.
Kisses.
Now
Fuck yeah,
you
dude.
can say the N word.
Yeah, no.
Let it out.